Today, I'm going to be talking about why walking alone just isn't enough if you're a woman over 40, and especially if you're over 50 or over 60. So, I'm going to start with a quick story. So, I was talking to a girlfriend of mine the other day, and she was telling me that what she does for exercise is she has a regular walk. She has a route that she walks a couple times a week, and sometimes she adds a few stretches to that, but that's basically her exercise routine. And I was kind of like, well, how about adding, doing some strengthening with that? And she's like, oh no, I'm not a gym person. I don't like going to the gym. I really don't like, I don't like lifting weights. I'm not a gym person. So I'm going to talk today about why I think that this is not exactly the right, what should I say, right mindset for us women over 40 or over 50 to have. So I'm going to talk about a few reasons why walking alone is not enough for us women over 40, over 50, and what we want to be thinking about doing. And I'm going to give you some easy peasy suggestions of things that you can add to your walking routine if you are a walker. So don't get me wrong, I think walking is great. Walking is great for overall physical and mental health. Walking is great. Get out the house, spend time in nature. It's really, really good cardiovascular exercise. But once you're over 40 and definitely over 50 or 60, we want to think about doing some other things maybe in addition to our walking routine or our walking habit. So the first reason that we want to be doing things that are not just walking is that once you get into perimenopause, once you're especially postmenopause, so probably in your 50s, you're probably starting to lose muscle. You're probably starting to experience what they call sarcopenia, which is just a natural decline of your muscle mass, especially if you're not doing anything to counteract this. Now, this has been happening to me. And what you can probably notice as well is that you're getting maybe more aches and pains. Your knees start to feel weak. Maybe your hips are starting to hurt. You're starting to have aches and pains, maybe in places that you never used to have. And this could be a result of your muscles getting weaker because of this process called sarcopenia. So this is super common. Once you're postmenopausal, you start to get weakness, or you start to get weaker in pretty much everywhere if you're not actively working to strengthen the muscles of your body. So secondly, once you are in perimenopause or postmenopausal, you run the risk of developing osteopenia or osteoporosis. So this is simply your bones start to get weaker because of the decline in estrogen. So in addition to your muscles getting weaker, your bones also start to get weaker. And again, just simply walking alone is not usually, and I hate to say ever, is generally not enough to counteract the weakness happening in your bones as well as in your muscles. So that's reason number 2, why walking alone just is not enough. But I'm going to give you some tips as to what you can be doing about this. So reason number 3 is you might be starting to feel kind of wobbly. Your balance might be feeling off. Now, just in the last year alone, I have 3 friends who have fallen and broken something. Yeah, 3 friends in their 50s, and I think one is in her 60s who have fallen, just tripped on the stairs, tripped on the sidewalk, just tripped, don't even know how they've tripped, but they fell, and all 3 of them broke something. So one friend, she had to have surgery on her hip. Another friend broke her ankle, and another friend sprained, or I think fractured some bones in her feet. So I'm not saying that this is all due to balance issues, but definitely if your balance is off, you're much more prone to falling, and we definitely don't want to be risking falling at our age. We definitely want to be doing everything we possibly can to prevent us falling. And so we need to be working on our balance, and walking alone just is not sufficient to help us to improve our balance. So the fourth reason is that we need to be doing other things, not just walking, is that if all you ever do is walk the same route, even if it's, 2-3 times a day, you're walking 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you're walking the same route, your body sooner or later gets adapted to what you're doing. Your body is no longer challenged by it, and you really need to add some variety into what you're doing. So the body is really good at adapting to challenges. So if you're just doing the same thing over and over again and you're not challenging your body to do anything different, you're not really getting a lot of benefit out of it after a while. I mean, as I said, I love walking. I think it's great. You definitely are getting some benefit. But if you're just walking the same route over and over again for the same amount of time, I think there are other things you could be doing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. All right. And lastly, 2 more things. So generally speaking, all of this to say that walking alone generally does not prepare you for aging well. And so if you're in your 40s and 50s, you want to think about what can you be doing to ensure that you live happy, healthy, and pain-free well into your 60s, well into your 70s and your 80s and your 90s. We want to be thinking about what can we be doing for ourselves now to ensure that we can live happily, independently, pain-free, well into our 70s, 80s, and 90s. So that's really why I'm talking about this, because that's my goal for myself and for you. I want us to be all living healthy, happy, and pain-free well into our 90s. So walking is great cardio, but quite frankly, once you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, we need to be working on strength. We need to be working on our mobility. We need to be working on our balance. We need to be working on our proprioception, just our sense of where we are in space. So there are a lot of other things that we need to be working on once we get older. Now, I know this sounds like a lot. So don't get overwhelmed, because if you know me, I'm all about small, sustainable steps. Small, sustainable steps to just get started. And then as you develop the habit, you just add on. So I'm going to give you some tips today. I'm going to give you some things that you can be doing. So if you're a walker, but that's all you're doing, I'm going to give you some simple, easy suggestions that can help you to add on some of these other things that we've been talking about. So those things include strengthening, mobility work, balance work, flexibility, also important. We want to be also working on our flexibility. But it doesn't have to take hours, doesn't have to be hard, it doesn't have to be complicated. Okay, so let's get started. So first thing, strength. Yes, the first thing is you want to be doing some type of movement that is going to be challenging your muscles to the point that they are getting stronger. So if you're used to walking 20 minutes twice a week, how about, and I'm just giving you some ideas to make it easy. How about instead of walking for 20 minutes, you take 5 minutes of your walking time and you just simply add in, let's say, 10 squats. Super easy. Squats are one of the best types of movements that you can do to strengthen the legs, the core, the hips, the feet, lots of things working in a squat. And you just start with adding 10 squats after you walk. Super simple. Or if you want to work on your upper body strength, you could do 5 push-ups on the floor, or you could do wall push-ups to strengthen your arms and your shoulders. So you're simply using the same amount of time that you used to walk, but instead of just walking, you're going to add in literally 5 minutes of some type of strengthening exercise. Start with squats. Again, super easy. I'm sure you can find lots of videos on YouTube which can break down a super simple squat for you. I think I might have some as well. So just use the time that you're already walking and just add in 5 minutes of some type of strengthening. So it could be, as I said, upper body, lower body, whatever it is you want to do. So that's suggestion number 1. Suggestion number 2, jumps. Jumping is really good for us, especially if you are at risk for osteoporosis, osteopenia. Obviously, if you are at risk or you think you already have it or you have osteopenia, you want to check with your doctor or your physical therapist first. But simply jumping, 10 jumps, 20 jumps. Again, lots of videos here that can tell you specifically what to do for yourself if you are at risk of osteoporosis or osteopenia. But if you're walking for 10 minutes, you could literally take 2 minutes out of your walking time and do some jumps. Lots of different kind of jumps, skipping, jumping up and down on the spot, jumping jacks. Again, I'm not going to get into the specifics of the different kinds of jumps here. I'm not going to demonstrate, but you could definitely use some of your walking time and do a few jumps. And if you can't jump, there is a movement called heel drops, which is where you just get up onto the balls of your feet and you land strongly on your heels. So again, you can talk to your physical therapist about it, talk to your doctor, although doctors I find don't generally know a lot about this stuff, or you can look on YouTube for videos that explain what heel drops are for osteoporosis. So I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physical therapist, but I have done a fair amount of research on this area, and jumping, heel drops, great for strengthening the bones in your legs to prevent or help to manage osteoporosis and osteopenia. So that's idea number 2, neither of which take any more time than you're probably already spending if you are a walker. So 5 minutes of strengthening or even 2 minutes of jumps will actually be more beneficial to your body, to your strength, your overall well-being, your overall health than just simply walking. Okay, idea number 3, how about 5 minutes of balance work? Yes, take 5 minutes of your walking time, and how about just doing 5 minutes of some type of balance exercise? Super simple again. It could be standing on one leg for 1 minute and then standing on the other leg for 1 minute. That's 2 minutes. Literally 2 minutes of your walking time you're going to spend practicing your balance. Or if you don't want to use your walking time, you could do some balance exercises in the morning. You're brushing your teeth. You're going to hold on to your sink, your basin. You're going to stand on one foot, brush your teeth. Stand on the other foot, brush your teeth. I think that, should be doable. And you've literally spent 2 minutes and practice your balance, got a little stronger too. And there you go. Super easy. And you've practiced your balance. There are other ways to practice balance. Lots of yoga poses, practice balance. I have some on my YouTube channel. You can simply look at a video, 2 minutes for balance or 5 minutes for balance, whatever time you have, and just add it into your day. You can literally add it into any point in your day. But if you do that, you're adding in another super important skill that you're going to need for the rest of your life. In your 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, you definitely want to be focused on your balance to prevent those more than annoying, dangerous falls. Okay, so we've got strengthening, we've got jumps, and we've got adding in some balance challenge work into your normal time that you are exercising anyway, if you're a walker. Or if you're not, these things literally take 5 minutes or less for you to do in your day. So let me know in the comments if you haven't got 5 minutes to add in some strengthening, some balancing, or some jumping. And I'm not suggesting that you do all 3. You could start with one. Start with one thing that's super easy and take it from there, literally. So let me know, and let me know if you want me to go into detail into any of these things that I've mentioned already. I can talk about it here if you let me know in the chat, or I can do another video, or I can point you to a video that I've already done on some of these things that we're talking about. So if you have a little more time, if you can find a little bit more time in your week, more than just 5 minutes, you could think about adding in even 20 minutes of strength training into your week. So 20 minutes twice a week is a great start. You want to do something for your legs, something for your core, something for your upper body. literally 20 minutes twice a week is a great start, especially if you're not doing anything at all. I would not do it necessarily on the same days that you're walking. So if you're used to walking twice a week or 3 times a week, you could add in 2 days of strength training for literally 20 to 30 minutes. Lots and lots of videos on that, about that on YouTube. Find somebody that you like and just, or come up with your own routine. Or if you want me to help you to suggest some exercises that you could do in that 20 minutes, I'm happy to do that as well. So I also have some yoga for strength videos on my channel. You could have a look at one of those, because that's the other thing. You could be doing a yoga for strength class. There are lots of yoga for strength classes out there, literally yoga, but they focus on poses, positions, movements that are strengthening. So we're talking about things like planks, downward dog, lunges, warrior 2, warrior poses, strengthen the legs. So there are definitely lots of yoga poses that strengthen the body, especially, if you're on your hands and knees, you're strengthening your hands, you're strengthening your arms, you're strengthening your shoulders, lots of things. Obviously, if you're just starting out, yoga is a great way to start to build strength. If you're already pretty strong, you probably need to be using weights to get even stronger. But if you're just starting out, not doing any strength training at all, yoga is a great way to start getting stronger. And again, you can, start with 5 minutes, start with 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever time you have. Something is better than nothing. Okay. So that's the 4th idea. Super simple. You could start with 1 yoga pose. Literally 1 yoga pose in the morning, tree pose, warrior 2, lots of poses that do lots of things at the same time. There are yoga poses that strengthen you as well as help you to improve your balance literally at the same time. So you're getting stronger and you're working on your balance at the same time. So the last thing you want to be doing as well, and that literally can take 5 minutes or less, is you want to be working on your flexibility. Yes, you want to be moving your joints. You want to be moving your joints as much as you possibly can. So we're talking about simple things like literally opening and closing your hands like this. Great for the joints of your fingers, especially if you're starting to get arthritis or in your fingers, osteoarthritis, that is, circling your hands, doing things like this, circling your shoulders, back. This is what I call flexibility, mobility movement. So you're just moving your body in ways that are going to move your joints. This will help to manage aches and pains. It will help to keep you flexible and mobile, and will help you to not get stiff and tight as you get older. Especially if you're doing some strengthening, you want to also be adding in some mobility, some flexibility movement. So again, it doesn't have to take a long time. It could be 5 minutes in the morning. It could be 5 minutes anytime in the day, 10 minutes, whatever time you have, you can literally fit these things into your life, especially if you're already walking. After you walk, you could literally do 5 minutes of mobility or some type of flexibility movement. So those are really the tips, the suggestions that I have for you. I hope that I have convinced you that walking alone is not enough for us to be doing if we are in our 40s, 50s, or 60s. But it doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to take a long time. You don't need to go to the gym. Body weight is generally a great place to start. Obviously, if you start with your body weight and you're getting super strong, you need to continue to challenge yourself with something that adds a little bit more resistance. So again, let me know in the comments if you have any questions on any of this, or if you want me to go into any detail about this. We do all of these things in my yoga classes. I do have an online yoga membership for women over 40. If you want more support, I will leave the link to my online yoga membership below, and you can check it out if you're interested, or ask me any questions if you're interested. So I think that's pretty much all I wanted to share with you today. And I will put a link to a video, Yoga for Strength, in the comments as well, if you wanted to check out doing short yoga videos to help you to get strong. So let me see if there's any questions in the chat. So I don't see any questions in the chat, but I do have 1 or 2 questions that have been sent to me before. So one question that I always get is if you are injured. If you're injured, if you're in pain, can you still do a lot of these movements that I'm talking about? And the answer is it depends. It depends. So generally speaking, this is according to my physical therapist who I've discussed this topic with at length. If your pain, suppose you're having knee pain, if your knee pain is less than a 5 out of 10. So if it's a 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10, so it's sort of really low grade, sort of annoying knee pain, maybe from arthritis. Movement, walking, strengthening, really important for you to keep doing. So yes, it is okay for you to be doing these movements. It's actually super important for you to be doing these movements. If you're having pain in your knees that's less than a 5 out of 10, you want to be continuing to strengthen the muscles around your joints, and you want to be continuing to keep them flexible and mobile. So the general rule of thumb, according to my physical therapist, is that if your pain level is less than a 5 out of 10, moving your joints, strengthening the muscles around the joints is a good idea. Greater than 5 out of 10, you probably should rest it. And at any rate, you should be checking with your doctor or your physical therapist about why you're having this pain and have them give you a protocol for what you should be doing. The second question I get a lot is, will these activities help you to lose weight? Especially that pesky belly fat that a lot of us get in, perimenopause or menopause. So will these types of movements help you to lose weight? Will walking help you to lose weight? I personally think that, and this is not just me, my personal opinion, but losing weight has more to do with what you're eating, looking at your diet, as well as how you're moving your body. Obviously, both are important. Losing weight is a fairly complicated subject. It also has to do with hormonal changes. It has to do with how much stress you're under. It has to do with how much sleep you're getting. It has to do with the timing of your meals. What time are you eating? So I'm not going to go into all of these things in detail now, but losing weight is generally a combination, or losing and gaining weight is a combination of all of the things that I just mentioned. But so I would not say that there's no one thing that you need to do to lose weight. Although I did just do some videos about how I lost 20 pounds a couple of years ago. So if you're interested in my weight loss journey, I do have some videos about how I lost weight and how I've managed to keep off my weight loss. So yes, that's there. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. So just to summarize again, for those of you who might be just joining us, really important to be doing other movement other than just walking. Once you're in your 50s and 60s, we need to be strengthening. We need to be working on our mobility, our flexibility, our balance. But it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be complicated. There are lots of easy ways to do this. Simply adding in 5-10 minutes of strengthening, balance work, flexibility, mobility, lots of easy things that you can do, which I talked about in this video. So I hope y'all found this useful. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions related to this, or if you want me to go deeper into any one thing. So, or if you have other topics that you want me to talk about. So I hope I've convinced you that if you're a walker, you can add in 5 minutes of something else. You take out 5 minutes of your walking time and just start to get stronger, so you can live healthy, happy, and pain-free for a long, long time, and continue to do all the things that you love for a long time to come. All right, that's it for today, and I hope to see you again next Monday. I'm here every Monday, 4 o'clock Eastern Time, for Karin Talks Wellness. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.